I just wanted to make a quick video tonight. Going on a camping trip with a friend soon, and we were discussing tonight getting ready to go, and I said I needed to stop and pick up some full metal jacket ammo in a defensive load. He asked me why was I wanting something in full metal jacket. That made me think, well, maybe everybody doesn't think the same way I do when it comes to camping and hiking loads. Now, I know when we're carrying for self-defense, for personal defense, it's a completely different ball game. There's lots of things to consider, and expansion is one of the things you want from a good bullet. You want a bullet that expands properly and doesn't over-penetrate. Because we're in an urban environment, we don't know what's behind our target usually. There's usually something living within some space behind our target. And when shooting a human being, you're not shooting a lot of dense muscle and bone, so you want the bullet to spread and hit as many vital things as possible. Now, when you're out camping and hiking, the situation changes completely in two different ways. One, you're in a different environment. You're in an environment where there's not a lot of people, there's a lot of open spaces, there's lots of hills, and there's lots of trees. So, a missed shot or an over-penetrating shot is not as bad a thing there, because it's more likely to pass harmlessly into a tree, into a hillside, etc. So you're not as worried about over-penetration. But one thing you do have to worry about is penetration. I mean, if you're shooting against even a wolf, but especially against things like cougars, bear, moose, you're shooting into animals that have extremely dense muscle and bone. If you're shooting a hollow point projectile, hollow point bullet at, say, a bear or a moose, you may not get much penetration. You may only anger that animal because you didn't really hit anything vital, because it couldn't get through that thick muscle and bone to hit anything vital. And when you're in a wildlife situation, your goal is you want to drop whatever's attacking you with as few shots as possible, because you don't know how many animals there are. Especially when you're dealing with like wolves or animals like that, like pack animals. I mean, none of this stuff is very likely to happen, but just stuff you want to consider when you're camping, hiking, and taking ammo with you. So, back to topic. When you're dealing with animals that are much denser than we are, have much thicker bones, much denser musculature, you have to start worrying about penetration. Penetration is your main concern now. Whereas in personal defense, maybe it's not. You know, like I say, it's expansion. It's placement and expansion. But in the wild, it's placement and penetration, because you're having to shoot through, like I said, some dense animals. So when you do that, that's when your full metal jacket comes into play. So even though it might be best off to have, you know, your expanding rounds, your hollow points, when you're looking at a personal defensive round, when you go out into the woods, in my opinion, you want the round that's going to do the most damage, and you want the round that's going to be able to penetrate the deepest into that large animal. And like I say, and you're not going to have to worry as much about over-penetration. So that's my opinion on it, and that's why I said I needed to go get some full metal jacket rounds in a defensive load. If I'm out in bear country, I'm carrying my .44 Magnum loaded with full metal jackets. If I'm in this area here where we have cougars and wolves and things like that, we don't have so many wolves anymore, but some of the areas we go to, we do when we go a little east. But if I'm in an area where I might have a possibility of dealing with animals like that, I want my .40 caliber or my .357 Magnum loaded with a full metal jacket. I want that penetration. I want to be able to take down a large animal one shot. I want it to go clean through their chest if I have to shoot them. I don't want to just wound them, because two reasons. One, I don't want a wounded animal coming at me, and two, I never want to harm an animal to make them suffer in any way I don't have to. I'm very much an animal lover, and if it comes to me or the animal or my family member and an animal, I will choose to let my family member live, but that doesn't mean I want to make the animal suffer. If I can dispatch them quickly and cleanly without them feeling any more pain than necessary, that's what I want to do, and a full metal jacket gives me more of a chance of doing that. So this has ended up being a pretty long speech on a very short topic, so I'll end it with that. But I wondered if many people agree with me, or if they think I'm totally off base on this.